I'm here to talk to you about blockchain. It would be really good to understand if people are bored with blockchain. Is anyone bored? Good man, yes. As Stuart said, like even if you weren't bored before, by the time I'm done, you might be. So let's go. So the first thing is I think we need to reset, right? So when we talk about blockchain, we talk about loads of different things. It means lots of things to different people. And if I said internet to you, it would also mean loads of things to you. What we focus on is in our company is the real problem in music that blockchain can solve. All right? You can use blockchain to do loads of different things in music. But the real problem, the root cause, is what's on the screen right now. Who do we pay? And the best way to describe how we came about this problem is just describe what we did. We came into the entire industry and said, hey, we think there should be a really cool service called JAAK that allows you to do something really cool on top of streaming. So you have all these different walled gardens of streaming sites. One thing that allows you to jack into any stream and do some really cool experiences on top of that, right? Social sharing on crack. Problem. We went and spoke to labels, publishers, and they said to us, well, you can't do that. It doesn't work. And I said, well, why? And they said, well, it doesn't work because every single pot has different licenses, every single walled garden, and those licenses can't intermingle. So if you're listening to a song here, it doesn't actually map to a song there. Well, why? Well, because the actual way that we license is based on market share, and we calculate the market share completely differently to the way that we calculate who owns things. Well, why? Well, because we don't actually have an accurate picture of who owns things. Well, why? Because the data is in loads of different databases. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a problem. That's a root cause. That's right at the bottom. You've kept asking why till you hit the bottom. The root cause is where we should focus our efforts. And so if you want to do anything up here in this song part, then you really need to understand who these people are, and who those people are. And there's different types of complexity around that. And that's really the main point. That's what we think is important. And I put weed trimming up here because really any of the other use cases that we go after with blockchain are just on the peripheries, they're things around the edge. They're just trimming the weeds. The root problem is still there, and that's really the opportunity for blockchain in music. So we have our current tools, right? So the way that we've traditionally tried to solve this problem using current technology is with three things. First way is we're going to build another database. We don't know who owns all the rights. Let's build another database and try and put all the rights in that database. And that never really works because it's just another database. So if there were 1,000 databases before and your solution is to create database 1001, it's probably not going to help. And again, I won't name names, but there's been projects that have tried to do this and haven't really managed to get the kind of support you need. The second one is law. So we can create regulation, we can create rules. In the US recently, there's a bill passed that said we're just going to make sure everyone has to put their data in a database. And instantly, the private sector just said, no way should we let this be a government who run this. It's a problem. And again, rules live inside countries. So actually, we have a global consumer market, and putting rules in every single territory, who's going to tell everyone to be on the same, use the same rules? So that's problematic and hard to scale. The last one is let's create new companies, let's create a new organization that runs this for the world. Again, problematic. It's very hard to create a fixed structure like a company and allow people to then build up a business around it, because then they actually start to be gatekeepers on who can access or leave those systems. These things are very, very, very good, but they don't actually help us solve the problem. Blockchain potentially could allow us to solve the problem. And now I'm going to take a little bit longer to try and explain and give everyone a really good mental model of why blockchain is so powerful and what it is. And hopefully by the time you leave here, you'll understand blockchain a bit better. Blockchain is a file. Blockchain is a file that is connected to a peer-to-peer network. And I'm sure if all of you are in music, you understand peer-to-peer. Right? So peer-to-peer network, one file. Now in this peer-to-peer network, instead of us sending files to everyone, we're all putting data into one file. Now imagine this file is just a spreadsheet, right? So if you connect to a blockchain today, you're going to download the spreadsheet. And if you want to add some information, you say, hey, I want to add this piece of data. You send it to everyone else in the network. Everyone says, yep, we've got it. Someone collects all the data up. And then every so often, one person, which is normally the person who earns the reward, gets to add a new row to our spreadsheet with all the new data in it. That new row is a new block, and it's chained to the last block. So every single 10 minutes in Bitcoin, 2 minutes in Ethereum, we create a new block of data. That's a blockchain. It's just a big spreadsheet. And we really want to demystify this because our success, everyone's success, our ability to solve this problem is based on every single person here, everyone in the industry understanding that. You have to understand the technology. And it genuinely isn't as complex as we like to make it out to be. Now I'm going to present a more complex slide to explain this. So what that gives us is some really nice ways of solving this problem. So we spoke about having databases, we spoke about having rules, we spoke about having organizations. Blockchains are kind of all of these things in one because you can put any type of information in here and everybody has to look at it, everyone can see it, right? So when we want to create a new type of blockchain, we can say, right, what kind of information should we store in here? How should we connect it? So we have our database. We can say, right, we want to create a network of data where we're just going to connect loads of different databases, loads of different types of data. Then we can create rules. Here's a rule. Anybody who joins a network has to have an identity. Anybody who joins a network needs to talk about music rights. Rule. Because our blockchain is one spreadsheet, we can just say, if you want to put data in here, you have to abide by the rules. 3, this is basically an organization of loads and loads of different parties who all work together for some specific aim, like a company. But with a blockchain, just like Bitcoin, I can enter the network and leave the network at will. I don't need to sign any documents. I don't need to create a new organization. I don't need to share articles of association or create shareholder agreements. I just enter, I leave. That's incredibly powerful because we've never had a system like this before that would allow us to tackle these problems in this way. I really want to know if anybody now feels they have a better understanding of blockchain. Yes, kind of? We'll get there. It does take time. Now, as you've just seen, it is complex. I recognize that. And we have to change everyone's mind. We have to change every single mind in the music industry. It's very difficult. And the way I always think about it is every single person that we speak to, every person that's going to make a decision about whether our company is successful, whether any of our peers are successful, as they sit there, they have a choice. And there's loads of these people that we've spoken to. Some of them are here. And they're sitting there and they're saying, well, you know, you've come to me, you want to do something very, very, very big, you have very big ambitions. I can decide to either do the thing I've always done, you know, the kind of adage that no one gets fired for saying no, or no one gets fired for hiring IBM. It's the same thing here. I can do the same thing I've done before, say, yes, it looks good, but, you know, we're not quite ready for it, or maybe it's not going to work. And some people are willing to take the risk. They're willing to take the path on the right, the vertical climb, the Mount Everest, and say, yeah, we'll try it. I think this is worth doing. We'll try it now. Even though I might not be in the company for like 5 years or 10 years, I think it's worth us trying to do this now, even though it's a long-term solution. And we have to make sure everyone in the industry feels like they should take that right path. And it's very, very difficult. So what I wanted to do now is just kind of give you some scenarios around how this could play out based on what we're seeing in the industry today. The first one is, there's kind of 3 stages to this. There's a proof of concept, it's like, yes, let's try it. Let's put together a proof of concept, let's see how it works. Then there's a live test, like, hey, it's working, let's test it in the wild. And then there's in production. It's like, this thing is given, we're using it now, we're going to use it to run our business. It's very hard to move people up that ladder. And in the left, we have a few, basically these circles are the things that people in the blockchain space are trying to work on with the music industry. These are our use cases. We have micro-licensing. And for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it just means we're going to license things on an individual basis. Global view of rights. It's like, can we build a global database that has all of the rights information in it? There's infrastructure as a service. Lots of the music industry today still works on old databases, on infrastructure that's been around for long periods of time, on supply chains that have been added to and changed as companies have acquired different rights organizations and acquired smaller labels and so on. We have ticketing. Everybody knows, as we've heard, that there's a massive problem with ticketing and ticket touting, and there's an opportunity there to build a blockchain that tracks all of these things to make it very difficult for you to spoof your ownership of a ticket. Fan loyalty. We're seeing programs about creating artist tokens and allowing anyone who owns that token to basically come and say, hey, I'm one of your super fans and I can redeem X, Y, or Z. Metadata curation. Can we build bigger pools of data for people to use to connect loads of different data sets? And the other one is crowdfunding. Artists just issuing cryptocurrencies and tokens to fund the things they're doing. And there's loads of others, but these things all have varying degrees of risk. And again, on the left, we have some of the higher risk ones, the root cause problems, global view of rights, infrastructure as a service, micro-licensing. Coincidentally, these are the ones that we at JAAK have decided to take on, and they are obviously the harder ones to get in there because they're higher risk. We have ticketing and fan loyalty and metadata curation. There are live tests of these things going on right now. Some of them are in production. And we've seen lots of people do successful artist funding campaigns using cryptocurrencies, and that's great. So this is kind of we gave it a good shot, but unfortunately, in that it's very unlikely that all of these things will get off the ground, right? Some of them are going to fail. And actually, all of these things are being run by startups like ours that don't have many resources and they can't last very long. And we really rely on the music industry to understand what we're doing so that we can pick up and actually get going and get into production. So this is kind of like a scenario A where things go pretty well, but maybe it doesn't work out. There's a worse version of this, which is that given the structure of the music industry, the fact that we're going after something that's so core to many of the individuals and organizations that run music, that it just becomes too difficult. There's too many structures in place. There's too many contracts that are going to take 2 years to end. This is a scary, scary proposition for companies like ours because sometimes it's just the wrong timing. It just doesn't work out. We're seeing that happen already. Projects that don't go anywhere, people that end up not signing again or don't renew or don't go into the post-pilot phase and so on. And then we have live tests, ticketing, fan loyalty. These things can always die off, right? And I think this is the problem. And also the opportunity, because if you think about all of these companies and you think about blockchain technology and you think about what blockchain technology is, peer-to-peer, haven't we been here before? We've seen what peer-to-peer can do. And I want to borrow a phrase from one of my colleagues, Dan. I think really the opportunity here is if you think about peer-to-peer and you think about all of the people who were working on that technology when it first disrupted music, they were working to grow the value of the music industry at the beginning. And after not being able to do that, they ended up on the other side building great things that ended up becoming problems for the music industry. What we need to do is we need to embrace technology and harness those minds and bring them inside the music industry so they can focus on solving problems for everyone. And really that's what the blockchain space is about. If you think about a blockchain platform and you think about a normal platform, if I wanted to build a blockchain platform for everyone in this room, the first thing I would do is issue a cryptocurrency. If the platform does well, everyone participates. It's a participation token. Whereas if you think about a centralized platform, I build a platform, I own the shares, everybody uses it. Instagram, for example, I sell it to Facebook for 13 billion and walk off. It's me and 13 guys. That's the difference. That's why blockchains have an opportunity to solve this problem, because everyone can participate in the value. Now, as I mentioned, we do have an opportunity. Let's say we get this right. Let's say we're lucky and we make these core use cases, licensing, a global view of rights, infrastructure as a service, really work. We bed them in. All of the other things we've spoken about then can potentially be beneficial tenfold. If we talk about ticketing, ticketing could be incredible. Imagine you can link it back to the rights, link it back to the plays, link it back to the consumption, know exactly where the person was when they listened to your song, know exactly when they listened to something after they left the arena. Imagine metadata curation. All of the data we generate, all of it is valuable. It has some value. And it's very hard for us as marketeers, as business owners, as labels, as publishers, as artists to extract value from that data. It just gets spewed around the internet. Other people make money off of it. Fan loyalty. Obviously, it's great to have fans who are loyal. It's great to give them tokens that means we can identify them. Very hard to track it against anything if we have completely segmented views of rights and ownership and plays. Building a global platform for that would be incredible and allow us to do better fan loyalty. Crowdfunding as well, right? At the moment, if we do an artist token and we release it, people are buying it and really they're just donating to the artist. There's no ability for them to participate in anything afterwards. If we had an ability to connect that token back to the rights, all of a sudden you can participate in the royalty flow. Actually, there's a reason why there's an incentive for fans to back their artist, to be involved in the growth of that artist. And then we can go even further than that and think about brand new product experiences that actually we can't even think of right now because we don't have a system like this. Even real-time royalties, as scary as that sounds, maybe we could get people paid very, very, very quickly. And then there's global licensing. Global licensing is very difficult at the moment for loads of reasons, but this actually gives us an opportunity to do that as well. So really, I think that we're saying that the opportunities can be compounded if we are able to land this first use case. And that's what we at JAAK are doing. As I mentioned before, it's a community effort. Our success is based on every single person really understanding what the technology does and how it can benefit not just us, but everyone in the music industry. And we think that if you can engage, if you can do anything, just try and learn about the technology. Try and understand it. I'm not going to tell you to buy crypto, but go and learn about the platforms that exist. speak to people about it, engage. If any blockchain startups, even our competitors, come and talk to you, talk to them, learn as much as you can, and just really embrace technology. I think it really is an opportunity for music, and I think that all of us can be a part of that. And you can find us at, I'm going to confuse you by saying Meta, because that's the name of our blockchain platform, community.metanetwork.io and github.com/metanetwork. But just find us at JAAK.io or JAAK_IO on Twitter. And again, we'd love to speak to you. We'd love to hear your ideas, and we'd love to know if you're interested in working with us.